Homework is stressful for all of us students, but is it benefiting us to its full potential? There's traditional-based homework, which consists of things like writing papers and essays, taking tests, reading, filling in the blank. And then there's project-based homework, which consists of things like presentations, discussions, collaborations, real-world experiences, or even role-playing. But which is better? Traditional-based homework, project-based homework, or perhaps both? Some students, such as myself, believe that traditional-based homework just simply is not a useful tool in helping students understand and retain information. But I'm only one person. So, the question is traditional-based homework really an effective tool in helping students learn? Well, that's what we're going to try and find out by asking the opinions of fellow students, teachers, and other professionals. My name is Dylan Warrington, a student here at Washburn University. Having taken many classes here as well as at other colleges, I have heard other students along with myself feeling that oftentimes the traditional homework leaves us students with very little control over the assignment, and the inability to add our own creative touch, utilizing our own strengths and interests into the work we do, which in turn can cause the work to not have any real value, no real stake or motivation because it's boring and doesn't play to our strengths or interests, that it's just something to be done in order to move on. We are first stopping in to talk with one of Washburn's psychology professors to get a science-based opinion on what works for the student mind. It is important to note that from this point forward, all interviewees will be versed on what we mean by traditional homework and project-based homework before we begin the interviews.
My name is Michael McGuire. I started at Washburn University in the fall of 2002. The primary class I teach here is cognitive psychology, which is basically the study of your mind and how it works. My primary research area has been metacognition, which is our reflection on how well we do different cognitive processes like memory, problem solving, decision making, language production, and so on.
What do psychological studies say about both traditional homework and project-based homework on student learning outcomes?
Okay, so this is tricky. It depends on the specific attributes of the homework assignment. And the other thing is it also depends on what the ultimate outcome is. So generally speaking, project-based homework assignments are regarded higher than traditional homework assignments, but that typically means that there is a learning objective or a goal that is more closely related to the project. So, for example, if I want you to learn how to solve problems, I need to come up with some problems. And if I can come up with real-world problems, that's going to be even better, because chances are you're not going to be doing these type of traditional homework assignments when you get into the real world.
Which is a better learning tool, traditional-based homework or project-based homework?
As an English major, we do a lot of both. I think I learn most from discussion and project-based, but I also find papers and tests effective.
I enjoy project-based homework.
For the most part, traditional. Honestly, I think project homework.
I would say project-based.
Traditional, yeah.
I would say traditional.
I'd say with traditional.
I would say project-based homework.
I think it's better to do traditional.
Traditional-based homework. I prefer traditional-based homework.
Project-based.
I like traditional.
Project-based learning.
Probably traditional.
Traditional is possibly the way that I enjoy it the most.
Project, like a group project.
I'd say like kind of both.
Typically, probably project-based, but sometimes a traditional homework I think can be helpful too. So,
in your experience, have you found that traditional homework or project-based homework to be a better learning tool for students, and why?
Wow, okay, that's a great question, and I've actually used both. And my answer, though, is that it really depends. I work with students toward the end of their law school career, so they're getting ready for the bar exam and they're about to go on and embark upon, being practicing attorneys. So I use a lot of project-based assignments because I find it gives them an opportunity for practical application of the course material. But I also know that for teachers who focus on students in the first year of law school, the traditional homework is what gives them the foundation to be able to do project-style assignments.
I have generally found
traditional homework to work better, but that may be in part because it's what I am used to, and it fits more the teaching style that I have, which is generally very book-based.
Hands down, in my experience, it's project-based assignments. And the courses that I teach in entrepreneurship lend themselves to that type of homework.
There certainly is merit in the history department to have students read books outside of class or read articles and then write papers on them.
I've found in my learning career that a lot of the times with traditional based learning, a lot of that knowledge escapes the student after whatever the target is.
What are some ways that you think teachers can provide more excitement to the students in the content that they're learning about?
Project-based learning would be one answer to that, and also to give some students some choice within that. The more choice that you give students in how they are going to use their creativity in showing what they learn, the more likely they are to be successful and to retain that information longer. I do believe that.
I think that would have the effect of the students having more buy-in to the assignment. So the assignment's not just something I have to do to get the grade, but it's something that maybe they're a little bit more vested in.
What are some issues that are going on at Washburn that you want to write about? What are some issues that are going on in Topeka that you want to write about that have a personal connection to you or your family or your neighborhood? That way there is an intrinsic connection to the information, and the projects that we do or the assignments that we do are based on that personal connection as much as it is the information that I want them to go out and get.
When you give them an option, that increases the likelihood that they are going to be a little more motivated.
I think all of us students have been in a class where we absolutely hated it. Whether it be a subject that we found uninteresting but we still had to take it because it was a graduation requirement, or too much or too difficult of homework, or the homework was just not suitable in helping us learn what we needed to in the class. I've been in many situations like that, where even in classes I found the subject interesting, but the teaching method was just boring and unhelpful. We students pay a lot of money and time to be here and learn, so we deserve an education that actually helps us do that. So shouldn't we have a say in how we learn?
Well, I would just say to make sure you're connected with your students and make sure you know what their needs are in a classroom.
Reach out to everybody and, fit everybody's needs.
I really like the material being taught in the classroom.
I would like to learn everything in the classroom.
I think having discussion-based class periods are the most important.
I like the research, but I don't like the writing part.
I don't really like the writing paper stuff, even in my language.
I don't really like writing papers. I think it's just a waste of time for me.
Doing discussion-based learning in class, there's a lot of value where you can eliminate the unnecessary writing and the unnecessary cramming of BS into a paper.
I just like big projects and then just work on those, and then the tedious small ones we could just scrap out.
Get into groups for discussions, project for finals instead of tests, more presentations, because that helps kids prepare for the real world.
I would like to get some real life experience in the world.
Yeah, I don't like when project-based homework requires me to meet outside of class with other people or really rely heavily on other people, because everybody knows that group projects never end well, really.
Everyone's so different that it would be nice to be able to have different assignments based on where your strengths lie.
If there was a way for teachers to get traditional homework back to what it was intended for and not just be a load of assignments that you're just trying to get through, then that would be, I think, the best way to do it.
My other feeling on it, frankly, is I think students have too much homework. I mean, I'll say it. Students are stressed. It's the homework. What is it about our society that we're just piling on students? I have no idea, but I don't think it's healthy.
In addition to the homework issues that we encounter here in the law school, I'm a parent of 2 teenage children, right? And I am astonished by the amount of homework that they have. But I think there's got to be some recognition, some balance, some notion of what is the greater purpose of this work? Is it just to send students home with 20 pounds of books in their backpacks to see how many worksheets they can fill in? Or am I constantly focused on the bigger picture learning objective? And I think we're all in trouble if teachers across disciplines get away from that bigger goal.
Homework is part of the experience, but college also involves social life. And a lot of people think that's just kind of a recreational thing. I mean, and it is, but it's also networking. You know, I mean, besides just doing the homework, you also need to be able to network with your classmates. And if you're doing homework all the time that you're not working, then you're not able to do the networking. And part of what you're paying for with your degree is that ability to network with like-minded people. So when you go into the workforce, you know, and you're climbing that wall to enter whatever career it is, you're lifting each other up instead of having to all climb over yourself. I think that the traditional based learning is maybe needs to be less prevalent than it is now.
You know, my best piece of advice for faculty members are do some type of interactive lecturing where we're doing more than just you listening to what I have to say. The other thing I do on that is I ask for feedback from the students. You know, what can I do to make sure that you do better in the future? And students, they're pretty forthright. I mean, they will give me some legitimate ideas to consider.
Out of the 21 students interviewed, 10 of them said they prefer traditional. 8 of them said they prefer project-based, and 3 said firmly both work for them. Out of the 6 teachers interviewed, 3 of them said project-based was a better learning tool for students, 2 said traditional, and 1 said equally both. But we did find that practically all of the teachers we interviewed said that both project-based and traditional homework are useful and can be applied. And let's not forget the psychologists we interviewed who said project-based is typically better for student learning outcomes. Look, I'm not saying that there is a single solution to the homework problem, but merely there are ways in which we can make a better educational outcome for students and learning the material that they need to carry them into their future careers. We students come to college not to learn how to master being a college student or master tests or homework. We come to college to learn how to be the individuals we need to be in the career paths we choose. College is meant to give us students a safe practice ground, to assist us in becoming masters of our career paths, to be masters of our dreams. Therefore, the education, the homework, needs to apply to that eventual outcome. We can come up with solutions that benefit all students in all classes, benefiting through their own strengths. Teachers and students just need to be willing to work together and listen to each other, and be willing to make the necessary changes on both ends to provide the best education that students deserve.